Now on to this. The Municipal Demarcation Board says it has added 20 more wards in different municipalities ahead of the local government elections. The move increases new wards and municipal boundary lines from 4,468 to 4,488. For more on the story, we're now joined by Chief Operating Officer of the Municipal Demarcation Board, Aluwani Ramagadza. Tate Ramagadza, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this evening. Perhaps maybe let's just start off with you explaining what the process of ward delimitation is and what the thinking was behind creating these 20 new wards and how this reflects on our ever-evolving demographics in the country.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you to the viewers. Yes, ward delimitation is a process that is done every 5 years before the local government elections. The main reason, obviously legislatively, is to, in essence, to try and prepare for the next forthcoming local government elections. And the intention is to make sure that after 5 years, obviously, the population dynamics in different places would have changed, and people would have moved from one area to the next. Some areas that were wards, say in 2021, might now have had an influx of people into that particular area, and in some places people would have moved out of those places. So that in essence, it's meant to equalize the number of registered voters in each ward so that there's a fair and equitable representation at the end when the elections come. In essence, this process started in essence in 2024, middle of 2024. It essentially commences when the Independent Electoral Commission would certify the voters' roll, because this process is pretty much dependent on the number of registered voters. So after that, the National Minister of COGTAD determined the number of the formula for determining the number of councillors. The reason is because for us to determine the number of wards, we want number of councillors determined by the MECs. So the MECs would take the number of the formula and determine the number of councillors for the municipalities in the country. All of these processes are done every 5 years before a local government election. So all of that happened last year. And thereafter, we started a process where we went out into different municipalities to meet with officials to assist us in preparation of draft wards. We used draft wards mainly for consultation purposes. And we then, after determining, putting together the draft wards, went out into the country from April up until the end of June, conducting public meetings. Over and above the public meetings, we allowed members of the public in the same period to provide us with written inputs on how they would want their wards to look like. So all that, after it has happened around September, the board, after considering all the inputs received, then the board determined the number of wards, the wards themselves, different boundaries of wards in different municipalities. In this determination is then published in provincial gazettes. It's not a final determination. It's a determination that then says, if you are aggrieved by the decisions of the board in this regard, please, within 14 days, give us your objections, which people have done throughout the country. And in some places, some municipalities that we had deferred, that process of consultation happened between September and October. But all in all of them went through the process of public consultation, process of determining and asking for objections, and people submitted objections. And the board, after considering the objections, then took final decisions on wards for all municipalities in the country except the 4 in KZN that we will be finalizing in the near future, bar the decisions of the courts, because those matters are currently still under consideration by the courts. But in essence, as you have said in your introduction, we have finalized about 95% of the municipalities in the country right now, as we have handed over to the IEC today. Thanks.
So there's been mention of not redetermining certain outer boundaries before the 2026 elections in order to maintain stability. So how does the MDB then balance that need for those adjustments of those boundaries with the desire of maintaining stability?
Well, these are two separate processes. The determination of municipal boundaries, which is like outer boundaries, say, for example, a boundary between the city of Tshwane and the city of Johannesburg. So that's what we call outer boundaries. That particular process in earnest was finalized in 2023 because we knew that after that process, we will be starting with the boundaries inside, which are the wards. But we, as you might have heard throughout the day-to-day, even during the course of the program that we ran this morning, we had some cases that we deferred from 2023 because we needed to do further research and consultations on them. And those are the ones that then we took decisions, the board took decisions in July this year. So those decisions are those that then meant that we were not going to have any major municipal boundary changes in the 2026-7 local government elections. It's important to balance that because essentially, I mean, you know that the main objective as espoused in our constitution for determining boundaries of municipalities is to make sure that you've got functional municipalities that would be able to meet their constitutional obligations in different places. So we have to be careful enough as we determine this because, as you know, municipalities have got many challenges going on at the moment, and we are quite aware that most of the challenges that are on in our municipalities have very little to do with the actual boundaries, but more the governance challenges that municipalities are experiencing and many other forms of challenges that would essentially be addressed through other means than just changing municipal boundaries, as it were.
Aluwani, lastly, what do you think really is the importance with regards to ward delimitation in strengthening local democracy? I mean, you've been speaking about service delivery and also just for citizens to know what then their new wards would be.
We know that local government is the coal face for service delivery in South Africa and everywhere else. So wards gives a platform or provides a platform for local communities to be able to engage with their government at a local level, because you've got this representative of their own who's going to take care of their own issues at a local level. So it's important that we have proper wards put in place, as we have just done, as you have heard today when we were handing over to the IEC. It's important that we have those wards finalized so that people, when they go to elections, have got proper spaces to which they will be able to elect their own representatives who will take up their issues to the different councils around the country. So it's important that we make sure that this process is carried out well enough to make sure that they come local government elections, people will have proper spaces to which they will be able to vote for their own representatives. So it's critical that even after we've handed over today, because in essence, the handover it's just the beginning of the MDB's communication drive to inform members of the public about the decisions of the board. So in essence, we will be publishing all these wards in provincial gazettes over the next few weeks, and members of the public should be on the lookout for that. But we'll also put them on our website, which is www.demarcation.org.za, as soon as they are published. But most importantly, they can get hold of those from the government printing works website, which is www.gpwonline.government.gov.za. So it's very important that people are aware of the wards with which they are going to be voting in the next local government elections.